And it says live. Welcome back for the reboot of the MYBC Virtual Bookstore Author Series. And I am so happy that take 3, that we've been able to chat again. And Dianne, Sue, to kind of catch people up, can you tell people how we met?
We met through V-Team. It was an organization of entrepreneurs that met once a week. And that's how I got to know you, because you were in my group.
Yes,
and
that is.
Yeah. We had
And
some.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I'm just so excited to get into your book. I'm like, got questions and questions and questions.
We had some really good conversations, and we just got to know each other and become friends, and here we are.
And a fun fact for you out there watching or watching on the replay is we live in the same province. We're about, say, 4 or 5 hours away. So where are you located in British Columbia, Dianne?
I'm in Salmon Arm.
How is the smoke up there?
It's here. It's not really, really bad right now, but it is super hot.
Oh,
super hot. So, and we've got the Roots and Blues this weekend. So, yeah, fingers crossed that all goes well and there's no thunder and lightning.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. And during our time at V-Team together, we used to schedule what was called, I guess, in the networking business, virtual coffees where we'd get together and meet via Zoom. And I believe the story connected to the title of your book is during one of those virtual coffees we had. So tell that story.
That's right. You were interviewing me, or we were having a coffee chat, I guess it was. And we were talking about my book and how it was going, and it was not going very well at that time. It was very slow. And you asked me what the title was, and I said, I don't know. And I paused and then said, yet. And you said, well, there's the title of your book. And I thought, wow, that was easy. And I wrote it down, and it stuck. It stayed. And every time I looked at the title, every time I would go to write in my book, it was like, that's a good title. I like that. And you wouldn't believe how many comments I have had about the title. People love it.
You know, when we chatted before, what I love about life is the 3 dots.
Yeah.
The 3 dots is, I could say for you, I got to book the time and sit down, dot number 1, and write the book. Dot number 2 is fact check when you write a book. Dot number 3 is how you're going to market yourself and chat about it. And we don't know. And that power of that word yet, explain that word yet to us.
Well, I'd started writing the book probably 20 plus years ago. And I never got very far with it. I think probably because my own healing wasn't done yet. And I was worried about what I was going to put out there for people to read. And I was having a conversation with another V-Team member from Australia. And he kicked my butt. And basically, because what I had said to him was that who would want to hear my story? And I didn't mean it in a derogatory way. I meant it like I'm just me from Salmon Arm. And I'm not a famous author. I'm not anybody famous and all that kind of stuff. And I mentioned Tony Robbins' name. Well, he got really close to the computer and he kind of swore and he said, are you kidding me? And I said, no. I said, I'm just a nobody because I really am. I'm not a famous author. I haven't written any books. So that's how I was looking at it. And then the yet was, he basically said, your story's important. And everybody needs to hear it because there's things in my story that relate to almost everyone, in some form, not directly to my story, but there's things in there that do relate to everyone. And so that's where the yet came in because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me those 3 dots to figure out, okay, where am I going with this book? What is it that I want it to do? And how do I want it to look? So that was the 3 dots basically, was thinking about that. So yeah, that's where the yet came from.
I love that word yet. I think on one of the posts, I looked up that word yet in the dictionary, and it's um, basically saying it's to come. Like whatever it is, it's to come. And when you say yet, it gives that space to arrive. I'm paraphrasing, of course, the dictionary that I learned, that I researched that from. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's my, like, I have two favorite phraseologies. One is adding the word yet, is I don't know how to do that task yet. And
Yet.
it gives you permission to create that space for you to do it, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, my other favorite is the word and. Like the dots are the and. And it's when we replace the word but in a sentence with the word and. And I know, Diane, we've had this conversation before about that power of that word and. The and are like the dots as well. Is, oh my gosh, traffic was really bad, but I got home on time. Where if you rephrase that and go, traffic was really bad and I got home on time, it's a forward motion.
It
And
is.
that word yet is a forward motion. So
Yeah.
I love the title. Absolutely 100% love the title. So what
Thank you.
love to say, and I've interviewed, oh my gosh, probably a couple of 3-4 years ago, look on my YouTube channel and watch back on videos here, is about 65 different authors. And they often say a book is judged by its cover and our covers are judged by how we present ourselves. I truly believe that a book is judged by the back. It's our backstory and how we arrive in life is how a book is purchased, gifted, and thought about. So I'd love for you to read the back of your book.
Sure, I would love to do that. So here goes. There are moments in life when the answers seem hidden, just beyond reach, and waiting for the right time to be seen. I Don't Know Yet is a heartfelt reflection on growth, patience, and the quiet wisdom that comes from stillness. Through gentle storytelling and honest introspection, this book invites readers to pause, breathe, and trust that understanding will come when the heart is ready. Set against the peaceful rhythm of nature, it reminds us that not knowing is not failure. It's the beginning of discovery.
So
And I read about the author as well.
you know what? I'm going to read about the author.
Okay, you can do it.
Because I know this about the author is Dianne Parnell writes with warmth as she is in reality, authenticity, drawing inspiration from life's quiet moments and lessons found in reflection. Her words encourage readers to embrace uncertainty, find peace and presence, and believe in the unfolding journey of blooming. When writing, she finds solace in nature, and where stillness speaks the loudest truths. Are you hearing that buzzing sound?
Nope, not from my end.
Okay, good. Maybe it's from my end. I'm going to move my lovely coffee cup you gave me. Maybe that's interrupting with my microphone. So hopefully, if you're watching, if you can put, because we can kind of see the reactions in the chat here, I think. Oh, I don't know where it went. Anyhow, if you hear that buzzing sound, let me know. We do have one person watching, which is fantastic. So Dianne, I often like to pick a chapter and for you to tell me a little bit about the chapter. My birthday is the 20th. First of all, wow, you can't hear that buzzing? Very buzzy on my side. It's crazy. I'm Mercury retrograde this time around. I just got to tell you, people, there is some crazy energy going on in the world right now.
Oh, yes, there is.
So thank you so much for the personalized inscription. It means the world to me. And chapter 20, returning home, finding light in the place I once tried to leave behind. And I'd love for you to open up chapter 20 and share the quote, because each chapter has a unique quote. So share the quote and share the insight from chapter 20, please.
Okay. So the chapter is called Returning Home, Finding Light in the Place I Once Tried to Leave Behind. And the quote is, sometimes the place you once ran from becomes the soil where your healing takes root. So I was born and raised until I was 14 in Saskatchewan. And while I lived there, my life was, it was a really hard chapter to write because my life was really good as a child. And I was the one that everybody came to and, oh, so and so pushed me down and hurt my knee. They were the ones that came to me for support, I guess you could call it. And then once I got into the higher grades in elementary is when the bullying started. And then into high school it continued. And it just continued, and I could never understand why, because I had a lot of friends. I was well liked.
Mhm.
And yet there was these instances where it was brutal. Like, it was like, what is going on here? And I could never figure it out. And so I kind of withdrew. I sort of made some choices that probably weren't the best choices. And then my dad came home and he said we were moving to Calgary. And I was over the moon. I couldn't get out of Saskatchewan fast enough. And I said, I will never, ever return here again.
Mm.
And when we moved to Calgary, it was exciting and no more bullying. Like, I had tons of friends again. And when I moved to BC, I'm going to go forward a little bit. When I moved to BC, I was really good friends with this one friend, and she used to do what's called a despacho ceremony. And that's like a blessing. You put all your blessings and you send them up to the powers that be. And she had said to us one time, um, what's your favorite place where you were born? And I didn't even
Mm.
have to think about it twice, because that was Wascana Lake in Regina, right,
Mhm.
right in front of the Parliament buildings. And she said that was our powerhouse. And so I looked at it a little bit differently. After that, it was kind of like, oh, that's interesting to know, because that was my all-time favorite place to go. And then we took my mom back for a family reunion of, oh, quite a few. I don't even remember how many. I think it was 2012. And when we crossed the border into Saskatchewan, it was like I could breathe again. It was just like I just went, oh, and which shocked me, because I thought,
Mhm.
holy crap, I am never, because that was it. I'm never going back to Saskatchewan, and I never did. So I was in my 50s when we went on that journey, and it just felt different. Like, I fell in love with Saskatchewan all over again. And in that um, trip, I had dinner with two friends from my past when I was younger. And my girlfriend, who was my best friend until I moved, she leaned over. We were sitting at a restaurant and having dinner, and she leaned over and she said, I'm really sorry I wasn't a better friend. And
Oh, wow.
I was taken aback, and I kind of looked at her and I said, what? And she said, I could have been a better friend. And I said, of course, I just answered because I was like in shock, and I just went, well, that's okay. We had good times. And the other fellow, I had apologized to him years before and said, like, I'm really sorry for how I acted with you, and the circumstance around us kind of parting ways. And he was so kind and generous. He just said, you know what? Life happens. It's no big deal. He said, let it go. He said, I don't even remember what it was all about. So that really taught me something. So when I was writing my book, that came back to me, and it was like, wow, I worried about this stuff for
Mm.
50, well, wouldn't have been 50 years. It probably would have been 45-ish,
Mhm.
40, and and she had obviously worried about it too, because she thought she had to say something to me. And it was really like, wow. So here we are. I hated
Yes.
Saskatchewan for various reasons. She was feeling this and felt that she needed to apologize to me. The other fellow said, like, whatever, it's no big deal. And he had carried on with his life. And it was like, wow. So I think that in a way, really helped me to go deeper
Mhm.
into my story and reflect on all of that. And I think I write about both of them in the book, about her apologizing and him saying, like, no big deal, kind of a thing. Like, don't worry about it. Don't let that eat you alive, basically. So yeah.
Wow.
So that
I
was
see. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I just jumping in here is I'm visualizing what that um lack of a better word or words is the space and energy and compartmentalized that you both were carrying along
exactly.
where you had this. she apologized to you. He said no big deal, and that you're in the middle, kind of, I need to give this. You needed to receive that message from her, whether you kind of, brushed it off or not. You needed to receive it and kind of forgive in that moment for that energy shift to kind of happen. And that's a beautiful story. So out of that, what would you say is, when somebody's reading that chapter, what is the action that you would want someone to take from what happened to you?
I think just knowing that it brings me back to, we never know anybody's story, and we shouldn't be judging them until we've walked a mile in their shoes. And that's an old saying that my dad used to say all the time. And I think that's what it was for me, because I was holding so much resentment and anger and feeling like I wasn't enough, kind of a thing, through all of that. And when she said that to me, it was like, wow. So she was obviously, in my opinion, I can't ask her now because she's since passed away, but she must have been feeling that too, when she felt the need to bring that up to me. So obviously it had bothered her for a lot of those years too, because she was my best friend. And she was not really directly part of some of the bullying, but indirectly in a way, if that makes sense. And so for her to say that, it was like, wow, she understood what was happening. And what came to me was she had that fear of stepping in.
Ooh,
happening to her.
Stepping in versus stepping up. There's a powerful action right there.
Yeah. And I never realized that until after she said that. And I really thought about it a lot. And I thought, wow, because they say that often, people want to help or step in and help the person who's being bullied, but they're afraid that could turn on them. And that's how I processed it in my mind. Wow. And it was like, oh, wow, all these years. And I wished in hindsight, I wish maybe we had communicated more through that, because I didn't find her for, it was just before we went to Saskatchewan. So it would have been around 2010, maybe, that I found her on Facebook again and we started communicating. So yeah.
Okay, so now there's 25 chapters, I think. We covered 20. And what would you say was the hardest chapter to write? Which chapter?
Oh, that's definitely, I think it's chapter 14, The Daughter I Couldn't Hold. They were all very difficult, I have to say. Yes. There was a lot of tears, a lot of boxes of Kleenex used up in writing this, but I think that was probably the hardest one, because it's the one that impacted my life, I would say, the most. The bullying started, and then when that all happened, it was like opening up a dam that had been contained for so long. And when I started writing about it, like, I think I'm doing the audio of my book right now.
Oh, okay.
And even when I read that chapter, like, I've read it probably, 20 times with editing and all that stuff. And I think I even cried when I was reading it for Audible. And I thought, oh my God, like, it was just very difficult. And the more I'm learning from some of the people that have been putting in my path because of this book, it wasn't just me that this happened to. There was a lot of people who had their children basically taken away from them or stolen. And it's mind-blowing.
Wow. That's we're going to leave that there, because that is a good indication to buy the book if I've ever heard one, and read the book.
Yeah.
So to kind of wrap this up, I end my little chats with authors with 3 questions. And, no, 1 question, 3 answers. That's how this goes, okay? No, it actually is 3 questions, 3 answers. Okay, it's coming back to me. It's been a while, Diane. Who do you think this book is written for?
Oh boy, that's a big question. I think it's written for anyone who has ever struggled in life and not felt that they had, I don't want to call it power because it's not really power, who just hasn't had the wherewithal or the support to look at that
Okay.
and look at whatever's going on in their life. Because I heard it. Here we go with language. I've heard from so many of my clients that they didn't feel safe. They didn't have anyone to talk to. They they kept it in because they didn't feel safe is basically the word. And so I think it's for people like that that just don't feel that they have a voice
Okay.
and that their story isn't important. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I have learned through this process that your story is very important. And by telling your story, it gets it out of here, it gets it out of here, it gets it
Mhm.
out there. And that's where the healing starts because it's no longer in here crushing you.
The next question is, who is this a good gift for? And that's a tough question as well. Is think about that phrase you shared with us about stepping in. This is a book that you would step in to give
Yeah.
somebody. What type of friend or person that is in our sphere of people that you believe, I'm going to buy one for myself, I'm going to buy an extra one to gift?
Oh boy, that is a tough one because I think everybody should read it. And I say that not because I want to sell a ton of books, but I really do think that it's for almost everyone because we all walk a path that a lot of people don't know about. And even with men, there's things in there that that can help them. And I think part of it is the questions at the back. I mean, it's my story, and I reflect a lot in each chapter on questions about that particular thing. But I think this book is literally for anyone. I think it's for counselors,
Mm,
coaches,
okay.
anybody that works in the field of mental health or mental wellness, um, and just anybody in general that isn't living the life that they want. I
Okay.
won't say that they should be living, but the life that they would like to be living, and for people who want to live fully alive.
And to wrap it up, is from start to finish, to you opening up the box and having a, oh my gosh, I'm an author moment. Tell the realistic time frame that it took you to
To
write the
write it.
book. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I started writing this book probably when I was in my 20s, but it was more like just, it wasn't even a journal, it was just thoughts. Like it would say, I had things like Saskatchewan and somebody's name and what they did. And so it was
Mhm.
kind of, short and sweet. And then as I got older and I started writing more, I would do like just like journal entries, more like a blog type thing. And
Mhm.
then so it just progressed from there. So I probably started in my early 20s and it just was published in late April.
Oh,
So, what am I now? That's 40 years. That's almost
there you
40
go.
years. Yeah.
And I put my finger in the book and chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
It's very interesting that we end with this quote. And by the way, we will put a link after this is done on the Facebook Live here to where you can purchase Diane's book. And this was a very profound, that chapter 9 is where I stuck my finger in, is someone was watching. Sometimes what feels like fear is simply your soul clearing its throat, trying to get you to listen. So, Diane, I'm internally grateful that I was able to listen to you today, my good friend. One day I'll venture up to Salmon Arm again. It's a beautiful part of our lovely British Columbia.
It sure is.
And I thank you for your vulnerability. I thank you for being your genuine self and your authenticity. is what's needed in this world. Is I know people can read each story and it will mirror a
Mhm.
section, and they'll be able to reflect and move on into their greatest self. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you're an author out there watching this, I would love to chat with you as well. So this has been Jeanette Y. Martin on the MYBC Virtual Bookstore Author Series, where your story matters. Get it down on paper and let's talk about it. Bye bye, everybody.
Absolutely. Bye.